boy?
Not my boy. It's her boy.
We're going to see
One of the best animated movies of all time.
it's personally his favorite movie. Yeah, he grew up with it. He quotes it all the time.
He's sponsoring our trip today, so we're very grateful. It's a double feature with The Iron Giant and The Incredibles.
Best of all, Brad Bird, the director of both movies, is gonna be there.
That's right.
So cool.
Sweet.
This was from Warner Brothers Animation. Back in the late 90s, they decided to go ahead and be their own full animation studio. Instead of just doing the Looney Tunes shorts, they were going to make full-length feature films. This was the product of that venture. But since then, it's become more than a cult classic. It's become a beloved movie. It really touches your heart. It's got a nice quirkiness. It's got
Good heart to
a
it.
good heart to it. It's got some surprisingly deep moments.
And it teaches you a lot of deep topics. It really makes you think about life. You feel it in your heart. The Iron Giant, he barely says anything in the movie, but he displays so much emotion through the events around him.
It's a rare treat to see it in the theater and with the director.
It's their first time seeing it in the theater. I got to see it, and I want them to see how awesome it is.
We're here in Hollywood. If you saw a previous video we did, we went to see Muppet Movie, and we are back here to see The Iron Giant. And, we are so excited. So here we go. Hey, we made it inside. So movie's about to start, and we're just enjoying the ambiance.
Indeed. He's talking about how when he's listening to music, he can like see every scene in his head already.
He's basically memorized the soundtrack, which is a score, not a soundtrack. So that's pretty impressive, actually.
It's ingrained in my head. And yeah, thanks for calling me out.
You're welcome.
I think anyone in this room knows what an incredible film The Iron Giant is. It's kind of a movie that was, not a box office success at its time, but really found its audience, over the years. And I think you'll see tonight stands up incredibly well. We look forward to seeing you midway through. Enjoy the film.
There he is.
Seeing just a film by Brad Bird credit, I mean, that is something that means so much to us now, but you said just now.
Crap back then. Ted Hughes' book, The Iron Man. I really like this one. This book is really magical. That's really cool. It's very poetic. But I'm interested in the kid and the giant. That's the story that I see. But I want to do something really different with it. And they said, what? And I said, what if a gun had a soul and didn't want to be a gun? And they kind of went, what if a gun had a soul and didn't want to be a gun? So they got me a meeting just based on that. I came in, this is with the heads of the Warner Brothers division. They said, but he has a very different idea for it. Brad? And I went, what if a gun had a soul and didn't want to be a gun? And everybody went, what if a gun had a soul and didn't want to be a gun? But what I didn't tell them is, in the time between them being interested and that meeting, I had worked out the whole storyline. So, to their shock, I went, it's 1957, Sputnik's in the air. These two people go absolutely white. None of this has been run past them. And so I went off and kept going. And about halfway through the pitch, one of them nudges the other one. Goes like that, like, take this down. I finish it, they really like it. What I didn't know is that they took their scrap of information that they had done from my verbal pitch and handed it out to two different writers. Said, you write a treatment based on these notes. When, at the end of the film, they were going to give story credit to these other writers. But I learned you don't talk about this stuff because they'll start to change it. Before you get to the power guy, they will start putting all their stuff in there. And then if it doesn't work, they won't own it. They'll just go, well, it's kind of, yeah. I registered it with the Writers Guild before I pitched. So they were kind of shutting the division down while we were making the film. It was kind of like having, free reign on this Titanic. You could run around naked and drink all the booze or whatever. You were going to be dead in an hour. But you have free run of the place. I thought this might be the only movie I get to direct, so it better make it count. Even though we had a great response, nobody came that opening weekend. People didn't know what it was. Nobody saw it. The 3 people that saw it loved it and are recommending it to all their friends. But it's really great that you're seeing this stuff on a big screen. This is something that is under assault right now. For me, this is the ultimate way to see a movie. It's in a theater with a bunch of strangers in the dark, all experiencing it at the same time, and no pause, no rewind, no sending text messages, all that stuff. You gotta come in, commit to the time, and disappear into that world on that screen. So thank you all for coming and seeing it. Thank you.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so cool to see it on the big screen. Yeah, it was a big 4K presentation and just glorious. It was just amazing. It's how involved you can be in watching that movie. It's so emotional. It's so beautiful. There's an innocence to it. There's a sweetness to it, but it's also funny.
Yeah, and there's actual weight to it too. Like usually with an animated movie, you're kind of like, yeah, they're animated characters, so what? And then like someone gets hurt, and you're like, oh shoot, that's a human being.
Right? And I saw people in this theater who's never seen it before. At certain points, you see them go, like it's.
Yeah.
I was like, you can feel it. You can feel it.
Yeah.
And the way that he paints that picture, you don't know really what to expect when the movie first starts. It starts in space, and then you don't know what's going on. And I love the little touches that you don't even think about. Like I was telling Z about the flashlight in the wilderness when he's walking around. It makes you think that you're watching something that's really filmed live action because
they probably took like 2 different versions, like night and day, of like all of the wood and all of like the broken splinters and everything, and then they had to have like the flashlight pass over his head.
You know, speaking like about that whole forest scene, the whole deer scene, there's so much emotion. There's no words. There's barely any words, and then you hear a snap branch. The deer gets scared, walks away, and it's like, oh, this is a beautiful scene. And then bang, and it's like, did that just happen? It totally throws you. It's like, oh, and it makes you kind of freak out.
Yeah, it's at that point that the movie takes a turn and really gets into something very deep, very soulful, and it really just carries you through. Like it grounds it in a way that makes it feel less like an animated movie and more like a journey of the soul. And they talk about the soul in this movie.
It brings a lot of depth into the characters, that they feel these things and they experience these things, and they're not entirely afraid to feel them. They kind of support each other in that. And I don't know. I love it. I love the same thing with the people that actually made this. They had to support each other and even keep each other afloat, you know?
Right. We just heard from Brad Bird, but I loved him because he was so candid, he was so honest, and he doesn't lie about things. He tells the truth, and he knows how hard it is, and he knows how hard he worked on it, and he just keeps fighting. So his next movie is going to be called
Ray Gun.
Ray Gun. He wants you to see it in theaters, and so do we. So
go see it, like actually invest time in people who are making something good.
Darkness, no parents,
Super rich,
kind of makes it better. All right, so you were telling me about this guy next to you who'd never seen it before.
Yeah, like at first he was like, okay, yeah, this is a cool movie. After the whole deer scene, his face like shifted. He just kind of went, is this happening right now? There's always a sense of, this is what I think is going to happen because this is what usually happens.
Yeah.
But then the movie throws so many curveballs that it's like, oh wow, this is something different from what I've seen ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Near the end, he's covering his mouth and he's just locked and engaged, and I was like, he's getting it. Like, he's getting that feeling. Oh, so that's why people love this movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's fascinating to see someone's first reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what's great about this is it just reminds you of when you let a creator do what they do and they make something this engaging. Nobody wants to be first, everybody wants to be second. If you've got that great idea, then you need to hone it, you need to cherish it, you need to protect it. It's hard because, ultimately at the time he probably thought, I'm proud of this, but this is a massive failure. Nobody went to see it, and it didn't make any money
At the time.
and at the time, but it wound up winning awards from people who knew and who cared about it. And then all these years later, it's the movie that kind of launched his journey. After this, he wound up working with some buddies that he had at Pixar, and he made The Incredibles, and he made that completely different than all the rest of the Pixar movies. It just seemed so retro and so cool and so decidedly different than anything else that Pixar had done. It shows that he is a visionary. He's committed to what he wants to do, and he knows what he wants to do, and he's smart, and he's no baloney, and he's just, I don't know, it's fantastic. Keeps falling down, sorry. Our phone thing is connected to a little holder thing that's in CD player in my car.
What's
And
a CD player?
it's a
I've
shiny
never heard
disc
of
in the
that.
music, and you put it in the anyway. But it's
flimsy.
it's flimsy. But back to the Iron Giant, he took that inspiration and he really ran with it, and he had good people with him who supported him, and they just made a glorious piece of art that anybody can access.
Yeah.
And it felt very real. It felt very lived in. Nobody was like perfect. They were kind of sarcastic or a little eccentric, but it just...
They each had their thing.
Yeah.
I'm noticing a trend with a lot of older movies is that they each have a different personality from each other. They're either from a different culture or have different personalities, different things that they're interested in, they're just like, and they still accept each other, like even the kid with the robot, like he just immediately, once he realized that he wasn't like dangerous, he just kind of immediately befriended him. Like that was pretty cool.
Who wouldn't run away
Yeah,
from a
exactly.
60-foot robot? And then finally he's like, like he's running away.
I realized that when he took the picture, he didn't realize that the robot was behind.
That's a great storytelling element, because he took a picture of himself and it looks like he just kind of made the flash in his eyes and he just went, but actually
That became a storytelling point.
he was behind it. And the bits of dialogue that he has with the scrap metal guy winds up being very poignant at the end when he's talking about, you are who you choose to be. The other thing that I love about this movie is how cinematic it is.
Yeah.
I love the introduction of just how big the robot is. And you get a real sense of scale with tiny Hogarth, who is crawling and climbing up to the top of him, and you get the entire scale of him all the way up. And then when it starts to arise, he's falling down, and then you see how huge he is.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite moments in that is when the Iron Giant and Hogarth are going over the cliff, and they discover that the Iron Giant can fly. And his mom is looking for her son, and she turns around, and it's this great moment where she whips around, and then the scale of him coming up in front of her, it's just this epic, gorgeous, beautiful.
Wow.
It's
Even the Iron Giant's scared. He's like, I can do that? And he's like, try putting your arms straight ahead like Superman, and then the music kicks in. Like this hero righteous, it's like, oh, this amazing stuff is actually happening, and it's like, it's so engaging. And then the military attacks again.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's got those great contrasts
whoa.
of something exhilarating and then something tragic.
Yeah.
And it's all pushing these storytelling moments to the nth degree of character, of action, of the plot, until it comes to the conclusion where his selfless act not only saves Hogarth, but saves the town.
And with each and every single thing that comes up, each character has to make a decision as to what they're going to do next. And thankfully, they all make the right decision, except for Kent Mansley.
Mansley.
Well, again, but you see every character, what they're like under pressure. Kent Mansley is not really great under pressure.
No.
But you find that Hogarth still believes that the Iron Giant, even when faced with his default setting of becoming a weapon, chooses not to be that. And it's his mom is always searching for him. The hipster guy is he's
Dean.
He's Dean. He's wanting to help. Everybody's character is tested, and then you see who's really got character and who's flawed, and those differences in interactions, that's part of telling a great story.
And then there's the moment where he thinks Hogarth's dead, right? And he's like, what am I supposed to do? And then finally, like, the army still attacks him, and then he snaps.
But the reason he did it was an emotional reason, because
Yeah.
Hogarth was threatened, and he's not going to let that happen.
Yeah.
And that's a great storytelling element. It's not because it's cool because now he's this crazy Destructobot, you know, with all these cool designs and everything like that. That's not the point. The reason he went full bore was because someone he cared about was
Got
threatened.
hurt. Yeah.
That's, again, it's an emotional storytelling arc, and it just works. So I'm sorry that the camera's wobbling and all the rest of that stuff, but you know, we don't have a really secure camera mount in the car.
Yeah. We haven't gotten paid yet, so. What?
It's true. So please,
Please.
if you like this video, what we need you to do is like,
Share.
And subscribe.
let us know in the comments what you think of the movie and any recommendations that you'd have for future screenings. We'll keep a lookout for, you know, field trips like this, but we're just going to keep making this, and you tell us what you think. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Put the phone down, watch it, enjoy it. You can find it on physical media, preferred.
Yep.
If not,
Then they can't take it away from you.
that's right.
I wanted you to experience something that you've probably seen the movie before, but not on the big screen. It was pretty cool.
It was pretty
Well, that's
cool.
part of community. You see something that inspired you, and you want to show other people to inspire them.
Yeah.
And you're hoping that they have the similar reaction to you, and that's how you bond. That's how you connect. That's the point of great art, to bond people together who might not normally have things in common, but it doesn't matter because your hearts agree.
Yeah. Thank you for taking us, though.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have been able to come without you.